I had an interesting kerfuffle last week with a buddy of mine, longtime buddy, good friend, and a fellow activist, also interested in resisting Trump somehow. We are different. I've been watching his posts on social media, and his style is divergent from mine. That is, it's doing something that's different from what I like to do. It tends to have, from my perspective, could be wrong, a kind of if I were in charge of the world feel about it. For example, he went to the rallies a couple of weeks ago and came back and gave a full criticism of what was good and what was bad about it. And to me, that feels a little self-romancing. I thought about bringing it up, but I'm trying to learn to bite my tongue. And then he wrote to me inviting me to something, and I decided to mention to him that our approaches diverged, that I'm much more interested in a different approach. I'm not interested in the if I were in charge of the world, I'd make it work because I'm one of the good people kind of things. And he distinguished our work, saying, well, my approach is active and yours is passive, meaning perhaps, I'm not exactly sure what, but something like that he goes to the rallies, though I go to the rallies too. So that was interesting to me, this thing about talk versus walk, or passive versus active. And then a couple days later, for different reasons, I went and refound a Bertolt Brecht quote I like a lot. It's from the end of a play in which he's playing out the way that thugs or autocrats or tyrants work. He's ending the play by saying, if we could learn to look instead of gawking, we'd see the horror in the heart of farce. If only we could act instead of talking, we wouldn't always end up on our arse. This was the thing that nearly had us mastered. Don't yet rejoice in his defeat, you men. Although the world stood up and stopped the bastard, the bitch that bore him is in heat again. If only we could act instead of talking. Interesting proposition there. We hear it lots. We hear it from the right wing. Sarah Palin used to talk a lot about how we were all talk, no action. Not that she was doing anything but talking herself. So what is the point about walking and talking, acting and passive? What's really going on there? I mean, he's right. My friend is right. Most of my work is in words. In politics, words matter a lot. But there is lip service. And there are benefits to lip service and costs to it. There's fake it till you make it, and then there's face it till you make it. There's talk as if we already are the virtuous ones. That can help us become more virtuous. There's also times when you have to admit that you're not that virtuous, so that you can make improvements. I'll call that face it till you make it. So there's fake it till you make it, and there's face it till you make it. And one of the main ways we fake it till we make it is through talk. Talk about what's good and bad, talk like we're already the authorities on virtue. All of that stuff can motivate us to become more virtuous, or it can have the opposite effect. That is, you can fake it in ways that make it so you don't make it. It's the lip service instead of being virtuous. Sometimes when people say sorry, it sounds like they're really going to try to motivate themselves to do better or do different somehow. Sometimes when people say sorry, it's instead of doing different. Like sorry. They don't really mean it. They mean it as an instead. So what I'm talking about here is what we call the aspirational gap. It's the gap between what we are and what we aim to be. And there are two ways to close it in the real world. One is by improving our behavior, and the other is by lowering our standards, that is, lowering our expectations of our stuff, so that the gap isn't as great. So either I can close the gap by getting better at something, or I can close the gap by not needing to, in effect, relaxing my standards. But then I've also, as a human being with words, I have two other ways to handle it. One is to pretend that I am closer to my aspiration than I am. That's fake it till you make it. That's becoming a legend in your own mind. And the other way is to pretend we don't care about the outcome, like we're over it. Sour grapes is how we think of that one. One of the main ways we fake it till we make it is preaching. Spake it till we make it. Spake it is an old word for speak. So spake it till you make it would be a way of faking it till you make it. That is preaching how we should be in the world. And I do a fair amount of that. I'm Jeremy Sherman, the sermonizer. What am I doing when I'm giving a sermon? Well, in a way, I'm talking to me. I'm saying what I need to hear in order to improve. You think of it this way. Someone who is a superstar in the diet world is likely to be motivated to keep their weight down. So there's a way in which when I do this kind of preaching I do on here, that's my aim, is to grow me in a certain direction by talking about it. But I can also do that as a substitute. That is, I can substitute my talk, my preaching to others for my own change. That is, why would I have to change? I'm the police who can see what's wrong with everybody else, and I'm blaring my police siren at everybody else so loud that I drown out considerations of how I'm doing. So when Bertolt Brecht says, if we could act instead of talking, I think he's probably referring not to the use of language. After all, he's a master of language, and he's working in language. But the lip service that we can give, the self-romanticizing encouragement we can give ourselves in our fake it to make it, spake it to make it preaching. Anyway, interesting reflections from my perspective. This is the kind of stuff I do. I listen to conversations. I get into fights. And I try to learn from them. And this is an interesting one to me. I don't have a problem primarily working in the world of words. What I do have a problem with is the self-romanticizing use of words, blaring our police siren as if we were in charge of the world at others so that we don't have to think about our own behavior. It does matter that we walk our talk. And for me, that's kind of the heart of all of this work. This is not me as an academic analyzing from the outside. This is my non-spiritual yet very spirited practice. I'm trying to train my intuitions. And I do that a lot through words. I know that it is easy to give lip service and that talk is cheap and that it's much easier said than done.